Welcome back. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle, and you are joining us on our Friday music business podcast where I cover music business tips, what's going on in entertainment news. We do this live so that you guys can ask questions. So as you are filing in on the chat, hello, how are you? Where are you checking in from? How's your week been? We took last week off. We had, of course, Black Friday. And so on the socials and in my newsletter and in all the places, we did the special Black Friday. Not even a sale. It was just this kind of giveaway slash sale. So I did it in two parts. Let me tell you, as you guys are filing in, I'm going to tell you what it is in case you missed it. Hello. So in any case, part one was, you guys know I have How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business, right? My music business book with contracts. Hello, New Zealand. Yeah, where are you guys checking in from? Where are you at right now? And so we did this 90% off thing where it was really supposed, like, if you wanted to buy the book for someone you love, right, for the holidays, then you could do it for $3. Okay. And so this was just basically my, like, let's bring more to the community, basically give the book away, right? So that was part one. Part two was a scholarship. Okay. So I did a $950 scholarship for the first place, and there was going to be three prize winners for first place. And we had over 200 entries, which was so cool. Like the response was really overwhelming, and I'm so happy not only to just have you guys in my community, but to have you interested. So the scholarship, let me explain. The scholarship was for my online course, How to Build a Record Label, which is essentially like how to build a music business, right? How to become your own music business. Checking in from LA. What's up? So anyway, so we did the scholarships, 3Zs on those, and then there was second prize. So second prize, you get a $450 scholarship towards the program. So if you want to be in it. So today I started the process of, because I'm trying to call like everyone. And it's just, man, I got through a good chunk of change as far as like contacting the winners, and I got through some of the second prize winners as well, but I still have quite a few to go, and so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that, but I will definitely be reaching out to all the winners. So very exciting. How was everyone's Thanksgiving? How was everyone's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the things? So very happy to see you guys in the chat. We have an amazing show for you. I'm going to make some additional announcements. Of course, we're going to run the intro that Orko is going to join us for our newsy time talky part. And today I have a couple of different music business tips for you. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what those are here in a sec. So if you are continuing to kind of file in, we're going to do the intro. And then, of course, we always do some music. So who likes Deftones? If you like Deftones, give me some love in the chat. But anyway, so I did a cover of Deftones, and so we'll run that at some point in the show, and it's all going to be super great. So I'm excited for you guys to be here. Let's run the intro, and I will be right back. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for Artists and Record Labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. Hey, all right. So in how my week has been going, I decided to go and utilize Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and so I've been like making all of my business purchases that I needed, right? So I needed like a backup computer. So I went and found one of those guys on Amazon. Now, initially, I thought I had found this insane deal and the computer that I wanted. It's like a gaming laptop, which is good as I'm doing different things with my music programs, obviously lawyering, doing all the things. And I found it for like almost $500 less than in store. I'm like, oh my gosh, Black Friday is wonderful. And then I realized that it was one of those refurbishment companies, which I don't know if you guys have ever ordered from one of those companies. I was a little suspicious. I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea, but it's helpful if you go in and actually read like the warranties from the seller, right? So how's it going to be any different if you do buy it new? So I ended up buying used and refurbished. Okay, so that was number one. And then I also went and found a new piano. No, it's not the full baby grand. It's actually just a keyboard, but it's an actual 88 key weighted keyboard. And come to think of it, I think it's over there. I think it's a Roland. I'll have to check that. But in any case, I got this and I've had the same keyboard for like over a decade. And which is a Roland, I can say for sure. So it's a really great keyboard, and I just have been missing that weighted key feeling. So in any case, I'm all up in my feels about how excited I am for this new keyboard. So I blew a lot of money, lots of investment, but all good stuff. Asking for a new computer for Christmas. Very good. Matthew on Facebook. Deftones was my first concerts touring for around the fur with a band named Glassjar, and Mindless Self-Indulgence, it was Wicked. Glassjaw. Yeah, and Mindless Self-Indulgence. I definitely was into them for a minute back in the day. Yeah, I love Glassjaw for sure. All right. So let's do a little teaser. What I'm going to be covering as far as we have another catalog sale. Iggy Azalea selling her catalog. And we've been covering the different catalog sales because these are the things that are getting the big bucks right now. Right. So one of the first ones that we had covered a few weeks back, Justin Timberlake with an estimated selling of his publishing rights for music catalog, right? For something like 100 million. So not too shabby. And so we've been covering these as they've been coming up. So with Iggy Azalea, we're going to talk about her deal. Also very interesting because she's not one of these artists that we have seen this huge legacy kind of career, right? At least with Justin Timberlake, we have In Sync, and then he progresses into his solo career, and then he has smash singles and albums. But in any case, so she has kind of a shorter window with her catalog, but she did some big numbers. So we're going to talk about that. But then also in music business land, I want to talk about a couple things that have been coming up. You guys know I'm a real entertainment attorney. Okay. And these are things that come up with my clients. And so the first is talking about why artists don't believe in themselves. Okay. And why that actually doesn't matter in order to be successful. Okay. So we're going to get into it. Right. So I do have a Yamaha piano. Thank you to my team for helping me out there. So it is a Yamaha piano. Okay, let me see real quick. Let me go back to the chat. Would you live stream listening to people's music on YouTube and have people send you money? Well, I mean, we kind of do that. We do artist reviews. So if you go to topmusicattorney.com, there we go. Mr. Producer's all over it. So topmusicattorney.com/artist submissions. We do that live. So if you are interested in having your music reviewed, we can definitely help you out. All right. So in any case, we're going to talk about why you don't need to believe in yourself. Okay. There's actually a whole different way of how artists are able to be successful. We're also going to get into talking about just general music distribution. I had a client who just had a kind of a different, trajectory of coming up through social media and having a lot of success through social media. And so even, this person has millions and millions of followers, has never actually released a song on music platforms. So we're going to talk about how to distribute your music on music platforms. And, last but not least, I want to talk about split sheets. Okay. I know split sheets, something that comes up if you are a I'm making up words. If you are a singer, songwriter, or a producer, you're collaborating in any kind of sense, split sheets come up. And so I'm going to explain how they work. Okay. And I actually did some Google searches. So we're going to get into all that. So anyway, I promised Deftones, we're going to watch some Deftones together. I know as you guys are still filing in and joining the live stream, please be sure to drop where you're checking in from. How, where are you at? How you doing? So this is my cover of Deftones. It's called Entombed. So Mr. Producer, go ahead, enjoy. I'll be in the chat and I'll see you in a sec. Hi guys, thank you for watching. My new album, Dangerous Daughters, is now available on all music platforms, and I'll be sure to link it for you down in the description below. Yeah, Mr. Producer wasn't supposed to run that part of the video, but we're gonna let it fly. All right, guys. So something fun we're just gonna do as we're checking in on the chat. New York, what's up? Montana, so glad you can be here. Now you know why you subscribed. Well, you should be subscribed over here on Top Music Journey, right on YouTube. We are broadcasting all the places. Very nice. Yeah, my new song is called Secret. If you want to check it out, just search Miss Krystle. And in fact, I think later in the show, I did a piano version of Secret. So I think we're going to play that. Oh, very nice. I appreciate all the kind words. So anyway, what I was thinking is what we need to do is that I'm feeling real scratchy about the throat. Okay. And I'm about to like hail some information across y'all's brains, and I can't be all crackling over here. So we're gonna do this together. Maybe I'll bring in that Orko so we can just chit chat while I'm doing it. What do you think, that Orko? Give me a thumbs up. I see him in the preview. He's like, no, I'm not ready. All right, here we go. All right, so
Hey.
that Orko actually found this for me. I'm gonna fill it up. So I have like 50 of these things. Okay. So these, I don't even know really what's in it. I should know what's in it.
It's
We'll
like
look it up. It's like
basically
a
like just like a
special
saline
formula.
solution. It's like a saline solution, I think, or something
Yeah.
like that.
So anyway,
But
so
it's
I put
vocal
this
mist.
and this, and then I attach a piece, and then it's gonna pump out some stuff so that my voice can, have some hydration. So you found this for me, and we
Yeah.
watched the reviews, and they were quite good.
Yeah, no, it was an overwhelming response, and I know that you get um as an entertainment attorney, you talk a lot, and you vocalize a lot, and you're always singing. So I know that by the end of the day, your voice gets pretty thrashed up. So I'm always looking for some kind of solution for you, to try to do that,
No,
and that
and
just
like
came highly recommended.
on show days, I always try to take it a little easy because I know it's gonna be the
Mhm.
end of the day that we're chatting, and, like today, I think I got up at, like, 4:30 or so, and so it's just, at some point, my voice is just like, "We're done." But anyway, so alright, so we popped on the top, and then I'm hoping this is actually charged because this would be really embarrassing if it doesn't actually work. So we'll see. This is why we do things live, and then you pop it open, and you press the button. Oh, there we
Yep,
go.
yep,
Look
good to
at
go.
that. Alright, so say something about something.
Yeah, so I think this thing called give me a thumbs up. Is it called Vocal Mist? I'm 90% sure it's called Vocal Mist.
It's called Vocal
Um,
Mist.
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. So she's basically just breathing in the solution, and I guess it just kind of soothes and coats her throat or something like that. But she uses like other kinds of vocal sprays and like different kinds of throat coats and teas and stuff. But this product, just like the reviews were just like outstanding on it, like the how many testimonials of actual singers and just people that were just saying that it made a difference. And I'm all about just trying to run at your optimal level, and I need Miss Krystle running at her optimal level.
That's right. Alright, so in other news,
But
who's
that
been watching the
piano
Wed
that I was just gonna just talk about your piano real quick while you were puffing away there. Your new Yamaha piano is amazing. It sounds super nice, and it's just great because she's just been kind of playing a lot more, and it has these really great like speakers for it. It's just it's quite an upgrade from your last keyboard for sure.
Yeah, I saw someone left a comment actually and was like, "I just got a piano too. We're piano buddies." Where
That's
is it?
exciting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
such a nice sound. It's such a nice sound to have, just like when you're in the other room and stuff, and just to kind of hear it just going on.
Yeah, I've been playing my piano every morning as my cathartic meditation thing that I do to try
Yeah.
to just get my brain under control. Alright, so what I was saying was, so we've been watching the Wednesday show on Netflix,
Like
okay?
everybody else in the world,
Everybody
probably.
else, so those of you in the chat, who's watching number 1? Let's see what our community is doing. And then this one right here, so that Orko's kind of fallen asleep, I think, on some of the episodes, not because
The
he finds it
last
boring, but
the last 2 episodes I've passed out. So I got this new bed, and it's like it's a very firm mattress, and I passed right out because I was looking for a very I passed right out on this thing. And so it's very tough. But I like the show. I like the girl that plays Wednesday. I love that Christina Ricci is in it. I have no problem with any of the cast. Super stoked on it. The vibe of it is correct. I like the show a lot. Just the last two episodes, I'm gonna catch up on. I'm gonna go back and rewatch them, I think. But
Yeah.
pass right out. I pass right out.
I'm thoroughly enjoying the show, and I was kind of skeptical at first. I think like a lot of people, because like, oh, it's not, Christina Ricci did it slightly did in different interpretation of the character, but it's fantastic. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I like everything that's going on in it. I think the girl that's playing Wednesday is fantastic. I like her take on it. I like that she doesn't blink in the show. I she's the story is is cool. Yeah, no, I was actually surprised of how good it was. I didn't think it was going to be any good at all, to be honest with you, and I really like it. So don't take it the fact that I fell asleep has nothing to do with the show. It has everything to do with the new bed and me just going, oh my god, I'm so tired.
That's right. All right. Well, hopefully that will fix us and put us to perfection. So why don't we move on? The way I want to structure this is I want to do a music business tip discussion, and then we'll kind of go into the new segment that
Okay.
we have. So, in today's music business tip, I want to discuss why artists don't have to believe in themselves to be successful. Okay. Successful music careers are not about your mental or your emotional strength, your willpower, or even your motivation. Okay. So, what's the number one rule in Fight Club? All right, that's the wrong question. What I meant to say
That's
is, what's the number one
uh-oh.
rule? What's the number one rule when it comes to having a successful music career? Okay. Number one is always going to be treat your music career like it's an actual business. That is the
Absolutely.
entire mission
It's the whole
of what
point.
I do. Because everyone that I work with through my law firm, whether you are an artist, a record label owner, a publisher, you have to be in this mentality of you're going to represent yourself, you're going to protect yourself, you're going to market yourself, you're going to book yourself. If you don't have that mentality, then now you're the person that's going to get taken advantage of, or
Sure.
you don't know the deal terms. Okay. So
It's
treating
called
your
the
career,
it it's called the music business. That's what you're trying to get in. What's the second word? Business.
right? That's
So
right. So
treat yourself like a business.
treat your career like a business. And so the things that you have to do in order to be that music business mentality is number one, you get an LLC, which is a limited liability company. This is something that is going to create a liability shield around you so that you, if you get sued, if
Yeah.
something happens, then they're suing your LLC. People miss that critical reason why we set up LLCs, and that it actually
Because it
protects you personally.
because it kinda sounds intimidating, you know what I mean? It's like, "Oh, what's an LLC?" And then you're like, "Oh, I have to set up a limited liability company." I mean, just those 3 words together, like, is kind of an intimidating phrase, especially if you're, just focused on your music and you're not yet business oriented, but just know that, it's they're words, but they're just words, like, the process is really kinda simple to do it, and there's services that will set it up for you.
And guys, my rule of thumb when it comes to things that are kind of scary that we have to do for ourselves to protect ourselves, it's only going to be scary once. Once you go through it, you will
Yeah,
realize that it's not a hard process. It's usually not as expensive as you think it is. So for an LLC, you set the LLC. When it comes to treating yourself like you are a business, you need to learn how to negotiate. Okay. So
mm,
at some point, you're going to have to negotiate something, right? If you're working with a music
right.
producer, if you are a producer and you're working with an artist, if you're a record label, at some point, we're doing a deal. And so if you're like, yeah, whatever you want, you're going to get likely not the best deal possible, right?
I think that's a misstep too, because I think that a lot of artists are just excited for opportunities and they don't realize that they have that power to negotiate, to give a little pushback. A lot of people will just sign contracts going, well, I guess this is just how it's done. I can't make any requests, and they just sign it without getting an entertainment attorney, without even asking a question of what does this mean. And so, I think something really important is, as an artist, as have confidence in yourself, not only with your, your brand and your music and your art, but have confidence in your voice and being able to stand up for yourself as an independent artist to say the request things you want. All they can do is say no. and then you come back with
Yeah,
something else and you
and
find it.
don't be fearful that because you ask for a certain change or you're standing up for yourself, you're like, "No, this is what we agreed to," that you're gonna come off as difficult. Be
Or blow
difficult.
the
But you're
deal.
not
You're not
even
gonna blow the deal.
yeah, I mean, because again, the worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna say no. Now, let me tell you, in an extreme case, and this has happened like once ever, we'll be dealing with someone because we push back, and they might go off the deep end, but that's actually a good thing. It's a
You
huge
wanna
red
know.
flag if someone's like, "Oh, we're gonna, we can't have a meaningful discussion." So you don't even want to deal with someone like that if it does come up. It
That's
usually
great.
doesn't.
I'm so glad that you just said that. I think that's so important, to red flags when you see them, to recognize them, and the fact that they're showing their true colors, and it's like you don't want to be locked into a deal with somebody for like the next 4 or 5 years of your life, that as soon as you say something they just come down crushing on you. You are not going to
'Cause
have a
that's
good
what's gonna
relationship.
happen every time, especially at the beginning of relationships,
That's when
right?
you're supposed to be your best.
I like to use the dating analogy, right? So when you first meet someone, that's gonna be the absolute best
Yeah.
version of that person because everyone puts their best foot forward, right? So no only can get worse from there. So it's like that
Yikes.
in professional relationships as well. We're all gonna put our best foot forward, and so whatever you kinda see right out the gate, there's gonna be more of that to come. So if there are red flags, really pay attention to that. So other
Love
than
that.
learning how to negotiate, you wanna have knowledge about contracts, okay? For every single deal that you do with any person, with any company, you always want to have an actual signed writing, even if it's super simple. Okay. It doesn't have to be this lengthy contract. Just have something, and we'll talk about that more. But having a general understanding about contracts is one of the best things that you will do. And I even have like a free training because it's so important.
Yes.
Okay. I'll link it up somewhere. It's
Hold
it's a
on.
free contracts
Let me see what I got here
a
for you.
course that you guys can go through. But in any case, just being like having a general idea of how to look at contracts, what certain stuff means, is really going to empower you. So that's next. And then after that, you want to have knowledge about music industry standards. Okay. So what I mean by that is what's standard when it comes to a management agreement, right? What's standard when it comes to a record label agreement? So having a bit of that knowledge, super important. And let me drop a couple gems on you right now, okay? Like the three biggest deals that seem to come up: agent deals, when you're hiring an agent for like bookings, 10 to 15%. If it's a manager,
Mm.
15 to 20%. If it's a record label, if it's like an indie label, it's common that we do like 50-50. If it's a bigger label, you're getting like 12 to 16%. Okay, so things like that, having it in your back pocket are helpful when the label comes and is like, hey, we'll give you 5%. And you're like, what?
And just remembering those things when you are negotiating your contracts with your agents, with your management, that everyone's kind of getting a piece of pie. It's like if somebody's taking 30, another person's taking 30, and your label's taking 60, you're owing some money back. You're never gonna make a dime. You owe all these people. You better get a job at McDonald's.
That's right. So, when it comes to the number one rule of having a successful music career, treat yourself like a business. Now, once you have your business stuff situated, so important. Once you have it situated, now we're going to figure out how to market the product. Okay. We're going to create content. We're going to create the music. We're going to try different things until we figure out what hits. Don't just release one song, post one time about it. No, you release a song and you post like 20 times, 20 different pieces of content. Like
Yeah,
you got to
yeah,
think like a record label. Okay. And then as you do that, you will just grow your audience. It happens as long as you continue, even if your growth is not giantly, climatic, you will grow your audience. Okay. So that's piece number two. And then lastly, learn how to monetize. Okay. You don't want to just jump to like, hey, audience, I want to monetize you, buy my shirts, buy this, buy that. If you have like 20 people following you, if you are at beginning stages of your career, start small.
just
Okay.
grow.
Yeah. Don't just be like advertising and trying to sell and all the stuff. Give to your audience, entertain them, right? Come up with creative, fun content. But first and foremost, treat yourself like a business.
Yeah. No, and I love that where you're talking about posting over and over when you're trying to promote yourself. You have to remember, we're so um just think about the way that you're marketed to, and how many times that you see commercials, and how many times you see ads in your feed, and even with me, I've seen that vocal mist ad probably 10 times before I pulled the trigger and was just like, we got to get this thing. So, I mean, that's how advertising works. And then B, you have to remember that your algorithms are constantly getting choked by whichever, who's hosting it, whether it's, Instagram, Facebook, like you're only getting a fraction of your audience. So if you post, it's like maybe only on that given day, 200 people saw it. Maybe you have 10,000 followers, but 200 people saw that post because of the way the Instagram algorithm works. So the
Right.
next day when you post something about it, it's going to be a different group of people. And, if you update your hashtags, like hashtags absolutely do help. No matter what people do say, they do help get a fresh eyes on your post. So just, yeah, don't be afraid and don't care about what people go, oh my God, you're posting about your song too much. Well, bro, I probably already know you in real life and you're not going to buy one of my things anyway. So don't worry about it. Just post.
All right, so let's go real quick to the chat. Lewis, let me see, had a question on YouTube. My band name is very similar to another band with one letter difference. They have one R, we have two. What would be your recommendation for a band in our situation? Should we trademark before them? Great question. So I was talking with a
Love
client
that.
today, and we were looking at, we had found someone in the marketplace. So just meaning like we do a search. Okay, we do a search to figure out, is there anyone else that has a similar name? You did the search, you found someone. So part of our analysis is how long have they been using it, right? Does it look like they've been using it longer than you, meaning they have music that they've released before you? Are they in the same country that you are? Okay, because if you're in the United States, but they're in the UK, then you could register in the United States and you might not have a conflict. Okay, so there's things like that that we go through to figure out what we want to do. And then sometimes if it looks like you might have used it the soonest, we go right to filing. Okay,
Mhm.
so we start to that process because it takes like a year to get a response from the trademark office. So very important. And I would say, when it comes to whoever gets the registration first, what matters is who's been using it the longest. And even though there's a slightly different spelling, the way that trademark law works is, if it's similar enough in sound
Right.
and impression, it's still going to be considered kind of the same, right? It's confusingly similar is the analogy they use. So in any case, great question. And I would say you want to have an attorney conduct what's called a knockout search to determine, whether you have a priority, whether this other band's a problem, and what to do from here.
Yeah, definitely
So
too. Before you try to file anything on your own, you should definitely have a professional look and make sure and double check your work, even if you're kind of doing it. That's just because that whole process, it's so lengthy, and it's there is a fee attached to it. So you might want to actually just really double check and get someone like an attorney that deals with that, especially.
yeah, and I would say, look, if you're short on cash, I think I've done a knockout search on how to search for trademark name on Top Music Attorney. So just make sure to search the channel as well. All right. So what I would like to do actually is I want to discuss one other topic with you before we move into the actual entertainment news portion. Okay, because I want, based on when you were in bands, right? So that Orko was in rock bands, and he's had, a diversified, experience in the music business. So I
Yes.
think that if I walk through this with you and you kind of give me your impression on what the split sheet is, whether you did it with your band, whether you didn't, then we can actually talk about this and pretend, number one, if you were kind of working with me, and then in a real situation, that Orko is actually my music producer. So whether we would do something like this. So what do you say?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. I'm currently looking for that video so I can put it in the chat. So if you want to learn about knockout searches, I'm about to drop that. So keep an eye out.
Oh, okay. Why don't you do that? All right, here we go. So, in today's music business tip, I'm going to be discussing how split sheets work. Okay, I'm a real entertainment attorney. And so this question comes up pretty frequently with how it works, why it's important, do we even need it? And I'm actually going to show you what I found because I went into Google and I go, look, if I am, an independent artist and I'm trying to figure out how to do this and looking at the free templates that I was able to find, I actually downloaded them. Okay, we're going to take a look at what I found, and then that Orko and I are going to go through and just have a quick discussion. So let me show you first and foremost. All right, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So when I did a Google search, this was one of the first free split sheets that I found. This is from Songtrust. Songtrust is a collections agency for publishing rights. So this is very simple. So they use an example. They go, here's the name of the song, the composition. Here are the writers, and these are the splits. Okay. And then there's just a little blip right here. It goes, the writers warrant, represent, and agree. There's no samples. Okay. So there's no copyrighted material. Interpolations, meaning, we didn't interpolate some other sample, make it our own. Replays or other copyrighted material. Okay. So we're saying this is all original stuff. All right. And then they sign. So that's the example. And then it actually gives you the template to use. Now, my issue with this is that
It doesn't really say anything, right?
The purpose of a split sheet is to there's two components to every song. There's the composition, okay, which is the actual things like the chords, the lyrics, right? So the things that comprise the song, the composition, which can exist whether we record it or not, right? So if I sit down and I write something on the guitar, I have a song. So that's a composition. And then there's the recording. So if we go and actually record it, now it's a master. So that's why when you guys hear there's two copyrights in any song, that's what it is.
Right.
So the reason why I'm having an issue with this is that it doesn't designate the two things, right? It just says, well, what's the split? Now, if we did it this way and our general understanding is like, oh, you and I wrote a song and we're going to split 50%, or
Just
50-50 on everything.
Everything.
I mean, look, we could write that out.
That's very simple.
Yeah. And my general thought here is, even if it's super simple, I still prefer this, that you actually sign and put your signature on, right? Over nothing. Very important that you do at least something, okay? But let me show you maybe a little bit of a better example. So then I found this guy. Okay, so on this one, in this sheet here, it goes, all right, let's do the song title. In fact, I'm gonna make it a little bigger for you. There we go. So what's the date? What's the song title? Is it also known as, right? So this might be like former names of the song or the beat. Okay. And then it goes, all right, so who contributed to it? So you put the name, the contact information, and then it has what's the affiliation, meaning in the United States, there are 3 major collection agencies for publishing rights. So it's ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. I don't know anyone who uses CSAC. So it's pretty much, ASCAP and BMI. And then it goes, is there a publisher? Now, for a lot of you independent artists, you're not going to have a publisher. So you just say no. Or you go, I'm the publisher. I'm going to collect all of my publishing. You don't have to have an actual publishing company. They're just, this is just for purposes of saying, do you have a publisher? So in your case, that Orko, when you were in your band days, did you, number one, do split sheets?
Let me tell you what we did. We had a discussion. We did our, I think we did. I remember that we all signed up initially for like, BMI and stuff like that. But I don't think we ever really did anything past that to when we were submitting our music for anything that we were, adding any of that stuff in. But also when we were doing that too, it wasn't so much about like the streamings and the Spotify's and how that kind of stuff worked was a little bit different as well. Like we weren't really doing all that stuff as much. It was more just like the physical stuff and independent releases. So it wasn't like it was really going anywhere, or I don't even know if we
regardless of where the money was coming from, though, the question was, I mean, did you have a split sheet?
We just
write anything down anytime. Okay.
I don't think so. We may have.
And unfortunately, that's pretty common. We have just kind of handshake deals and understandings between us. So if you did use something like this, right, then this is the piece that was missing from that first one, right? So we say, what's the ownership? Okay, so this would be kind of the percentage that you would allocate. But again, it's not noting the composition share. So this is where artists get confused. Okay, because the first one said, what's the splits for the composition? And then this one says, what's the ownership? So to simplify this for yourself, I think that when you're having a discussion, if the agreement is basically just 50-50 across the board, that should be on your split sheet. And it should go as it relates to any and all income related to the song entitled blah, blah, blah. It's going to be 50-50. So that's one way that you can do this. And then you want to actually make sure that you sign. Okay. Now, When it comes to how I do this as an actual lawyer, this is an example of what I do. I do not use split sheets. And the reason is this is all the information you put on this thing. Okay. Where does it talk about who's going to have the right to make,
Right.
to collect the money? Who's going to pay everyone? Who has the right to
How
release it?
often?
Right? Who has the right to, I don't know, sell
Make
merch
any
related
decision.
to music? Yeah, or license the music to TV and film. So there's all this stuff that's not in here. That's what gets missed when you use a split sheet. But again, a split sheet is better than nothing. So I'm fully on board. If you want to use one of these, please do. But when it comes to a collaboration agreement, this goes into more depth. Okay. Now, this
That's
is
it.
my template. I think this is the one I grabbed from my book. Now, here's the thing. If you go buy a contract like this from a law firm, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If you get it out of the book, it's like 25 bucks. So I'll make sure to link it down below. But in any case, you just download this. And when you go through, you'll just see stuff like you just put names in. And it'll be like, all right, so when it comes to, are we paying anybody? Who's going to own it? Right? How's the money going to work? What percentage is being paid? So do you see here how this obviously goes into a lot more detail? And when you get a contract that's already formatted, the hope is you go through, you just update numbers, you just add names here and there, but otherwise it's done for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Credit, what produced by who? If we have a dispute, where are we going to have it, right? It might be in your state of Arizona. So this is only a few pages long, but I just really wanted to use it to just show you that that's where you want to be
Yeah.
as someone who's doing these kind of contracts. Now, this is not the most intuitive thing for a lot of people.
But I
And
do
it
I
should be
do like
because
the fact that like things like, I'm not just trying to plug your book here, but like things like your book where you kind of break down what all the stuff means. And when you're looking at some like your plug and play template that you have, like you really can, just from things like that, you can kind of understand what's going on a little bit better. And it does make it easier, and it makes it more clear because, you know, when these things come up, like when you're like in my situation, I didn't even understand how that stuff worked until I met you, quite honestly. Like, and it's embarrassing how much that I knew and how much I didn't know. And as far as I got in my industry or in my, genre, and how well I did, just even still, I did not know anything. And just so it's just very, I don't know. I agree with you. Just, you need to know these things and kind of go through them.
yeah, and so what I would say to an independent artist or someone in the business, otherwise, if you're a manager trying to help artists, have something, anything, even if you don't have a template and you write it out in a Word
Yeah.
document and everyone signs it, that's really going to be way better than nothing. Okay. But when you want to get to that level of like, you're really, professional, you've built your business, you want to have full templates where that say all the things. How are we paying, who owns? So that's why I wanted to go through this for you guys today, just to kind of get that example. And so for, that Orko and I, we've done a lot of music together and we have agreements for everything, and they're full length agreements. We're not going to do simple split sheets because it just leaves room for interpretation, right? If it doesn't say it in the contract, then someone's going to be like, this is what she said. This is what he said. Okay. So I hope you guys found that useful. And then if you want that collab agreement, I'll make sure to link down below. So you can get the book if you want it. It comes with other templates. So we'll end there. All right. So now, with that being said, I wanted to talk about a newsy thing. Okay. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Iggy Azalea sells her masters and publishing for a purported 8-figure deal. Okay. So that's at least 10 million,
Wow.
right? Potentially up to 99 million. And she says, I don't have to work another day in my life. Now,
Mm,
one of my favorite things to do on the channel is to talk about catalog sales, because these are the things behind the scenes that I'm doing with my law firm, with my clients. They're a lot of fun because these are the big deals. There's a
yeah.
lot of money for these things. Now, with Iggy, right, we're talking about like she just kind of blew out of nowhere for a lot of us, took over the planet, right? And now she's just like, great, time to sell, which is
Time to cash
smart,
out.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if she's making, let's say, 20 million, on the low end from, I mean, really, what has she done? Like 3 records total to date?
I don't know, but she's definitely got some heavy hitting songs on. I mean, on Spotify. I'm looking right now. I mean, Fancy's like sitting at like 624 million on Spotify. Her Black Widow song's just gone huge. Like, she's. I'm actually surprised that she's another one of these younger kind of artists that we were seeing that are selling their catalogs. So we covered. Derek from Sum 41 did it. You spoke about Justin Timberlake had a huge catalog sale, but I mean he's been around for a little bit, but like it's pretty crazy. But yeah, sold to with Domain Capital Group.
That's right, Domain Capital Group. And additionally, the report or reports say that there's a trigger for future earnings on masters that was also part of the deal. So sometimes the way we do that is if music continues to, increase in
Mhm.
interest, sales, revenues, all that, sometimes there can be additional bumps that the artist and the labels get on the back end. So it sounds like there was something kind of like that. And yeah, so I think it was Iggy's Bad Dream label that she started, she fully owns. And so that's where her new distribution deal that she's doing with
Mhm.
Horizon, the new music's gonna be
For the new
coming
stuff,
through.
she has a new album that she said she's going to drop next year. Like she's kind of she was getting a lot of social media because people like to make comments on social media, trying to compare her situation to Taylor's and Taylor Swift's, and she was just like, no, it's totally different. Like she didn't like Taylor Swift didn't really profit from it, but like she's now made it so she can go out and write out and do whatever she wants to do, make music or not, but she's set for life, and she's earning what it would have made in a lifetime just all in one lump sum. So you know
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, right, what he's referring to is with Taylor Swift's catalog sale, right? Her label owned the music. So the
right,
label had the right to sell the
yeah,
catalog. This was kind of an upset for her because she wasn't given the opportunity to purchase back the catalog at a price she thought was reasonable. I read that she was given an opportunity, but they were just, asking for something
it's just
outrageous.
too, yeah, crazy.
But, I'll tell you what, as a label that invests in artists, that's kind of the exchange, right? So you get the
Mhm.
investment back via the music. You have an artist that takes over the planet, like Taylor, and then if you decide you want to sell it for a certain price, you don't have to sell it back to the artist. And that brings up these ethical issues of, is that right? Shouldn't she be able to take control of her catalog? Now she's doing her own thing at this point where she's like, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna re-record,
yeah, no, totally. I mean,
which is she's entitled to.
but they're definitely not similar situations. And then it was kind of
Right.
funny too. Is like she responded to the accusations, or wanted to bring back the accusations that she doesn't write any of her songs, and she goes, literally, also, didn't I not write those songs? But wait, I just sold them for 8 figures, so I guess I did write them after all. LMFAO.
That's funny.
Uh, just just be talking for years not knowing. So I mean, I guess that also puts it to, I mean, she's she's collecting.
The end of an era. Iggy's third studio release arrived via Bad Dreams and Empire in August of last year. Fancy, her blockbuster 2014 hit with Charlie XCX, has been certified 8 times platinum by, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Big win for Iggy, and I love to see these artists that are able to sell their catalogs and um, just and really set themselves up. I mean, that's the dream, just to be able to do it. And we're just seeing so many artists doing it. It's interesting to see them when they seem a little newer artists, but it just goes to show how valuable your music and catalog can be, even at just since what her big hit was a 2014. So I mean, how many years is that? What is that, like 8 years?
8. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing. So going back to the chat really fast. Yes, we are here. We're going to learn together. We're going to self-educate. That's why we do this channel. Aaron on Facebook, resources, contracts, definitely. The band you manage, publishes, and distributes. Okay, got it, got it. Very cool. All right. So I think that was the only news story we wanted to cover tonight. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, we wanted to kind of get through some things because you had, I think, one more artist tip or something that
I
just
got
was
one
really
more
good.
artist tip. I know I normally do only the one artist tip, but I got them packed up for you guys.
But
So
that's a real important one, so, let's hit it. But, before I go, I just wanna say if you haven't yet, make sure that you do join our community over on YouTube, Top Music Attorney channel. This is where we are broadcasting from. This is where we really want you to connect with us, as far as this goes. We also, for some of you guys don't know, we don't talk about this a whole lot, but we have all of our podcasts and different segments are also available on wherever you listen to podcasts on streaming, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever it is, you can listen to the episodes on there. And we would really love it if you just went over there, followed us, our podcast. You can also, rate the podcast and just kind of show your love for the Top Music Attorney podcast. Really appreciate it.
hell
But yeah,
yeah.
thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Mr. Producer.
I'm out.
All right. All right, so let's jump into this next tip. In my music business tip, I'm going to talk about how to distribute music as an artist. What inspired this is that we have these influencers, celebrities who just take over social media, get millions of followers, and then because that's how they've been distributing music just on social media, we'll go and be like, how do we distribute music on normal platforms? Now, that's not the case for everyone. Sometimes we're just getting started in the music business. Either way, I'm going to hit it all tonight and we're going to go through this. So, for DIY music distribution, so meaning you don't have to get signed by a record label, you don't have to get signed by a big music distributor, let's say In Grooves or Orchard, right? These are some companies where you have to specifically be accepted by them. The ones where you can just go sign up and distribute right away would be some of my favorites: DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby. I've personally used CD Baby and DistroKid. I've also used some other distributors, and I have a chip on my shoulder. Okay. So I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to name names. Maybe I should. But what I will say is that I'm a big fan of CD Baby. I've heard great things about TuneCore, and DistroKid is probably my favorite. They at one point sent me like one of those affiliate links or whatever, which I just never use. But I'm gonna find it so I can put it in the description below in case you guys want to use it, and so you can get a little bit of a discount. In any case, let's go through it. Here's the stuff you need to know. Okay, number one, know your artist name. Okay, if this is the first time you are actually distributing online, have a decision about your artist name, the spelling. Do you have hyphens? Do you capitalize? Like, know your thing, okay? Because you have to put it. Number two, if you have a record label that you are signed to, or if you're starting your own music business, which I love to tell you guys to do, start your own music business, become your own record label. Even if you haven't set up something like a limited liability company to formalize the company, you can still use what's called a DBA, right? So doing business as. So if it's John Smith doing business as Slow Blue Records, I don't know, down tempo music. So you could be the record label, and that's what you put. Okay, so artist name, record label. If you don't have a record label, then you just put your name. Okay, that's fine. You want to obviously know the name of the song for the release. Okay. Choose the date of the release. And then, here's the thing: when it comes to how much time to give, try to give 4 to 6 weeks for the release, because not only are you done, okay, you upload it, the music distributor is connected to all the DSPs, which are digital service providers. Okay. Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. So they're going to send the song to all these platforms because we're not allowed to do it ourselves. Okay, it's the music laws, right? We can't go to the platforms ourselves, so we have to go to the one distributor that distributes it to all the platforms. But the nice thing is that all those platforms will then pay your distributor, who pays you. So that's how you get paid. That's kind of how the distribution works. Okay. But you want to give at least 4 to 6 weeks because that's your sweet spot to give the distributor notice to get the music to the platforms, to then submit Spotify for artists, right? You can submit for Spotify playlist consideration, but they need, you guessed it, 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. You're also going to have that time to get your marketing plan together, right? To start pre promoting, to do a pre save link, all stuff that we'll talk about. But, choose your release date and try to set it out 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I have broken this rule before. I've done like cover songs where, I got it done and it wasn't something that I was really pushing as a major release. And so I was just like, oh, let's get it out. So maybe 2 weeks notice. And from my personal experience, DistroKid was able to do it. Actually, it was less than 2 weeks, no problem. But obviously, you want to give as much notice as possible. Okay. And then it will ask you questions like, do you want to have it available? So, do you want to have the song, the EP, the album, whatever you're distributing for preview, right? Or pre order through Apple or some other platform. And so that's fine. You can do it like a week before the release. Okay. Or at least that's what I do. I'll ask you questions about what genre. So kind of think through this before, right? If you're a singer songwriter, if you are in pop music, if you do rock, it's helpful that you obviously give accurate information. So you add that. Then it's going to say, tell me the best section of your song. Really think about this from a marketing standpoint because that 1 minute section that it's going to ask you about is what's going to be sent to TikTok, is what's going to be sent to Instagram stories. Okay. And that it typically is going to be what is used over and over and over. So really think through what's something that is gripping in the song or something that's, even if it's quiet and slow, that's hooky or could have some kind of viral potential. Because, if you have a song that's released and you have a clip that goes viral on TikTok, you become a overnight sensation. It's really amazing, which is how some of you end up becoming superstars and then contacting my office because you're like, hey, I've never actually released a song. How do we do this? So you pick your best 1 minute. You determine the release dates. They ask, how much do you want the song to be for platforms that people can purchase it on? I always put 129. There's usually options of like 69 cents or 99 cents. I always put 129 because that's kind of industry standard. And then when it comes to being prepared with the actual stuff, okay, so meaning the cover art and the song. With the song, you can usually upload like an MP3 or a .wav file. If you are the producer or if you are working with someone else, make sure they give you a high resolution WAV file. Okay? You want to make sure that the audio quality is as good as possible because what happens is when you upload to the distributor and then the distributor sends the songs to the different platforms, the song gets compressed. Okay. And that's why sometimes if you ever hear your music, I don't know, through like Instagram stories, and you're like, the song sounds a little tinny. It sounds a little funny. That's because it's been compressed. So that's why we don't want to use MP3s because the MP3 is a more compressed version. It's lower resolution. So we want to start with the biggest one possible. Okay. So do the wave. And then when it comes to the cover art, number one, have it done. Okay. But then a lot of platforms like DistroKid, they want 3000 by 3000 pixels. So meaning it's a pretty high resolution. And my, rule of thumb for my graphic designers is to go pretty big, make sure it's obviously a square, okay? And then if it needs to be, resized and made smaller, that's okay. It's usually tough going the opposite. If you get it too small and they're like, oh, it's too low quality and now you need to get it bigger, which means you have to go back to the graphic designer and then wait and then start all over. Okay. It's a mild nightmare. Okay. So that's kind of all the stuff. Here's all the stuff that you need to know because the great news is that when you go in to start one of these accounts, right, it will just ask you some simple information. It will ask to connect to your bank account. And then the upload process is very intuitive and it's very easy. I always say this, the first time is always going to be the most scary and difficult. And then after that, it's easy because you did it, right? So go through this process, add the information. And by having the information before you even start, it's not going to feel stressful, right? Because you already had the information, you were ready to go. Now, this came up with one of my students asking, how does it work with the codes that we put on the music for tracking? So there are what are called ISRC numbers. Okay, so these are like the international barcodes. that we put digitally on the music to track it. So we know where your money is, right? How much did your music make? Where to pay it to? We do it with that virtual barcode, which the distributor adds for you when you upload the music. So that's a really nice function of the distributor. You don't have to go buy it separately, okay? The one that the distributor assigns to you for free as part of the release is the number that's going to carry with the song forever, okay? Now, here's the little hack. If you decide you hate the distributor and you've had a bad experience, which I've had, and you want to go to a new distributor, then you just need to use the ISRC when you upload the song again, because it will say, hey, do you have one? If the answer is no, they'll generate one and give it to you. If you already have it though, because you distributed this song, it got a bunch of plays, you don't want to lose that. So you can retain all the plays on your music, okay, if you use the same ISRC when you upload it to the new distributor. So for me, one of my best practices and that I share with my students and my clients, make sure you have some kind of Word document or an Excel sheet, something that you can track the information for your music. So for me, I'll have like a line in my document. It'll be the name of the song, and then I will have the ISRC, okay? And then I will have, some other information, maybe like the UPC. There's some other stuff you will see, but just kind of document some of the little things, who owns what, and that way it's just there. So as you go along in your career and you release more music, you don't have to remember this stuff. It's just there in that one sheet. So you're really going to be thankful to yourself for doing that. If you don't, not the end of the world. We usually can find it, but that's something that will definitely help you stay organized. So when it comes to how to distribute music as an artist, the good news is that it's a pretty simple process. And the last thing I'll kind of touch on is that most of these distributors are the same, okay? They will either take a nominal fee upfront, and so they'll be like, $20 to, distribute the song, or will take a small percentage of any earnings. And so if you're kind of a newer artist, you don't have a ton of streams or anticipated sales of the music, then, maybe do the percentage deal if that's an option. Okay, so they'll usually take maybe 20% off the top. If you're not making a ton of money, not a big deal either way, right? But if you are making some good revenue, you definitely want to try and negotiate down the percentage. And as an extra pro tip, know that you can negotiate your percentage. Okay, so if you sign up with someone and they go, we're going to start you at 20%, right? So we're taking 20, you take 80. After, a year or two, once the contract comes up for renewal, you contact them, send them a little email, and you say, hey, had a great time, with your company. I would like to stay. I would like a better percentage though. And 99% of the time, they will give you that better percentage to keep you on their platform. Okay. If you guys have any additional questions about this, please drop it down in the comments down below. I hope you got a ton of value out of this, so be sure to give me a like. All right, here we go. So with that being said, I promised that we would do one more sing along. And this is the piano version of my song Secret. And I have a special place in my heart for this. So I'm happy that we can play it tonight. So before I get out of here, I hope you guys have a really nice weekend. I'll be in the chat. I'll say hi. We'll hang out for a minute. Come say hi. I'll be on social media. I'll be doing some things. And yeah, just sending some positive vibes. That's all. Just thinking nice thoughts about you guys, and hoping that you are making progress in your music careers and that you're building your music businesses. And I'm just super excited about, everything that's been going on and that we are building our community. So make sure you follow the podcast. That Orko's been doing some hard work on all those episodes. There are a lot there now. So just search and you will find it. All right. I love your faces, and I will see you on the next one. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle. Bye, guys.
I can feel the sickness in me, poison on the inside. Just ignore the guilt that lingers, everything will be fine. Do you believe me when I try? Do you believe me when I'm high? Look in the mirror, practice lies, make it through one more night. Like a thread it's been unraveling, tangled in my tortured mind. Promise that I keep this locked up, take it to the grave confined. Don't let me speak it when I try, God let me keep it inside tight. Look in the mirror, practice the lies, make it through one more night. I've got